Once upon a time, in the land of Viridia, there existed a country with a corrupt government. The rulers of this nation, known as the regal family, had been exploiting their power for decades, siphoning off the country's wealth for personal gain while the people suffered under their oppressive regime. Viridia was a resource-rich land, blessed with fertile fields, abundant forests, and valuable minerals. However, the regal family had established a system of nepotism and cronyism, ensuring that only those loyal to them were allowed access to these resources. The rest of the population languished in poverty, struggling to make ends meet while the elite indulged in extravagant luxuries. Over time, the people of Viridia grew increasingly discontented. They saw their country's riches squandered by a handful of corrupt individuals, while their own lives remained filled with hardships and injustices. The government's rampant corruption and lack of accountability became unbearable, fueling a growing sense of resentment and anger among the populace. Amidst this turmoil, a charismatic leader named Lucas emerged. Lucas was a former military officer who had witnessed firsthand the corruption within the government and had vowed to bring about change. He was deeply respected by his peers for his integrity, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. Recognizing the need for a strong opposition, Lucas rallied the people, promising them a future free from corruption and oppression.
The movement gained momentum quickly, as people from all walks of life joined forces to challenge the regal family's grip on power. Lucas became the beacon of hope for the people, symbolizing their aspirations for a better future. However, the ruling regime, unwilling to relinquish their control, responded with brutality, using their security forces to suppress dissent and crush any opposition. As tensions escalated, Lucas and his followers realized that peaceful protests and demonstrations were no longer enough. The government's iron grip on power left them with no option but to take up arms and wage a rebellion. The country, once united under the banner of Viridia, became divided between those who supported the corrupt regime and those who fought for justice and equality. The war that ensued was a grueling and bitter struggle. The government, backed by its ill-gotten wealth, possessed a formidable military machine. On the other hand, Lucas and his rebel forces fought with determination and a righteous cause. The conflict consumed the nation, tearing families apart, and causing immense suffering to the innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. The international community watched with concern as the conflict unfolded in Viridia. Diplomatic efforts were made to mediate a peaceful resolution, but the corrupt government refused to engage in meaningful dialogue, clinging to power at any cost. As the war raged on, the atrocities committed by the ruling regime began to surface, further galvanizing global support for the rebels. Gradually, the tide started to turn in favor of the rebels. Lucas's leadership, coupled with growing international support, weakened the government's hold on power. The corrupt regime's infrastructure crumbled under the weight of its own misdeeds, and key figures within the government began defecting, exposing its dark underbelly to the world. Ultimately, after years of conflict and sacrifice, the rebels emerged victorious. The regal family was overthrown, and a new era began in Viridia. Lucas, hailed as a hero, assumed the leadership of the country, working tirelessly to rebuild a nation shattered by corruption and war. Under Lucas's guidance, Viridia embarked on a path of reform, establishing transparent governance, strengthening institutions, and promoting social justice. The scars of war slowly healed, and Viridia began to regain its standing on the global stage as a nation that had triumphed over adversity.